Have a seat, Coach.
All right. Yes, sir. Oh, you got it up.
Yeah. Okay. Count us down.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are.
Hey, we back again.
We back in
Man,
stride.
it seemed like it was just yesterday.
Yeah,
We doing it again, man. And I guess like I say, shout out to my beautiful queen and everything out there, man. I know she put up with me because last week, man, I was just talking to myself. She said, "Who you talking to?" She said, "You must be talking to Spider." I said, "No, I'm talking to myself." I was out there in the garage, Spider, and I was out there, man, brushing up on what I was gonna say and how we can finish this thing up and let everybody know, what's going on and how we gonna, get the show started, man.
Well, like I always say before, it's always a pleasure to let me ride with you in the front seat. I'm usually in the back seat. But you let me ride in the front seat. You see what it said, Coach at the corner with Coach Williams.
Hey, that's me right there. That's my face and everything. That's me on the beautiful camera and everything. Like I said, Spider, he used to drive and everything, but Spider didn't like to, slow down too much. He's like just enough where you can get on in one day. You got to get in because he don't like to slow down. He likes to keep driving.
Yeah.
And Spider, I thought about it this week, and everybody was touching on it. I heard a few radio shows that sports shows this week, and what they were talking about was the first black quarterbacks, and everything. And so I said to myself, that's a good topic. Here's one of the unique things about this, and we were talking about last week, doing the, PVIL, UIL, that, a lot of these guys that we talked about, many centuries ago. Now you look at the guys that we got now, Patrick Mahomes, which is from right outside of Tyler, in White Oak, where he's the White House, excuse me.
Yeah, I covered the game.
Yeah. See? Yeah. And then you got this kid, Jalen Hurts from Channelview, which is, I think, right outside of Houston.
Right, Houston.
Yeah, by way of Alabama. Then he transferred to Oklahoma. And then was a second-round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles because he backed up Carson Wentz for a year. And then last year was his first year start, where he ended up being 10-6. And now he's in the Super Bowl. Come on, Cowboy fans. I know it's kind of weird, but here's a kid, a Texas kid, that done accomplished all this.
But when I've been watching and hearing to the folks on the sports station talking about that's a true first black quarterback, I saw it on TV. I'm disappointed.
You're right.
Because he waited too long.
Yeah.
But I'm not disappointed two of them playing. I'm disappointed is that owners and head coaching and offensive coordinators, and you look at the media people who pay for the NFL, which is a big business, they never thought the black quarterback was sellable.
Exactly.
Since Joe Namath and John United, they sell tickets to the corporate people.
Exactly.
So they never wanted a black quarterback to run the show, even though he was most athletic.
Yeah.
He competent.
Yeah.
He put that tag in, he wasn't competent. So now is that, and I'm being real, is that white folks think Mahomes is white.
Exactly.
They don't think it's two black quarterbacks.
Well, see, they don't think if they,
But he never get mentioned as a black quarterback like Lamar Jackson or Boy and all this.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
Here's the funny part about that. His daddy played, and I remember when his dad played for the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, baseball player.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, he was a solid pitcher. It wasn't just like he was a guy that just woke up overnight. And you know how sometimes they say, okay, well, he played in the minor leagues, and I'm going somewhere with this. And when we looked at it like this, and then when they told me, or when I found out, I did my research who his father was, I said, this guy pitched for the Rangers for 2 or 3 seasons. He was a solid pitcher, So it wasn't like this cat just woke up and then all of a sudden he was a pitcher with the Rangers.
And that's the thing that got me on that black quarterback is that it's almost like I'm gonna go off sports off the grid. It's like the show The Bachelor.
Yeah.
About 2 years ago, they had the first time they ever had a black guy to be on it. So I'm saying, like, wait a minute, You got a black guy. Y'all been in business 21 years. It took y'all 21 years to find a black guy to go around the country kissing and dating on white girls. And because they said a focus group, there was a rumor in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, and the advertisers wasn't ready for a black guy to be kissing a white girl around the country. This is the deal. Look at the NFL, NBA.
But
all the athletes married the white girls.
yes, and
They're entertainers.
I'm gonna let you in on a secret. The young lady that was on The Bachelorette,
The black lady.
yeah, she went to Concord.
Wow.
She's from Dallas. Her family stays right here in Dallas.
That's because her dad is a lawyer, a judge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the guy that she picked, the white guy that she picked is from Dallas. Where he's from the state of Texas. But, the thing that they were going through, that he said, hey, yeah, I'll stay here in Dallas. And she stayed, with 3700 Hill Spider.
Yeah.
Okay. She stayed, she stayed in that area.
Well, what gets me is that you and I know in athletes is that black athletes, some of them, when they make it, they run go get a white girl.
Yeah.
So, and you see it, and it's okay. And then they get divorced, then the white girl get all the money because the judge and lawyers are white, make sure that she take care of. But now it took y'all 21 years to get a brother.
Yeah.
On a show that folks go watch. And so back then, I don't know how to get on Facebook for mess, but I had to let them know, y'all excited? Y'all should have been wrote Disney.
They should have been wrote Disney.
Where the brothers at?
Yeah.
Where the brothers at?
Yeah. Decades ago.
Yeah.
And here's the funny part about it. The brother that was on there at one particular time, and I remember this guy's name. He played wide receiver for Wake Forest.
Wow.
Yeah. He was a big brother, about 6'3", 6'4", weighed about 210. I was so, it was so unique that, a lot of, of the, bachelorettes, the young ladies was just really off into this guy. Okay. Again, nothing against somebody being biracial, but he's biracial. My thing is just like I said with the college quarterbacks, with the professional quarterbacks, really black quarterbacks. When we were coming along, you had guys like Choo Brackets. We brought up last week, from Lincoln High School. Okay, and then we get here right here in Dallas, Texas, up on our nose. Then we went all the way. We drove to Tennessee State, Nashville, Tennessee, where you had the Lord's Prayer, which was Dickey, the great quarterback that went to Oakland.
Oh yeah,
that played.
Yeah.
Man, that played was a quarterback with my man, the wide receiver, Cliff Branch. That was his quarterback.
Yeah.
And then we go to Joe Gillum, Coach Merritt, who was the coach there for many, many years. We go to Coach Merritt, who was also, by the way, was coach, I didn't know this, at Texas Southern, where you had David Mays, Dr. Mays, that played with the Buffalo Bills, came out of TSU. Well, Texas Southern, because when you say TSU, you have to also think about Tennessee State. So, you look at it like this, you look at me kind of strange, and I'm going to go another way with you. That not only did Dr. Mays come out and play the Cleveland Browns, at the same time, you had Carl Douglas that was playing backup quarterback to Johnny Unitas and Earl Morrow. His name was Carl Douglas.
But it's I know this, everybody talking about two black quarterback Kansas City and Philadelphia, the game tomorrow in Arizona. But what gets me is that I've been following this black quarterback thing for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And I use a black quarterback like my business.
Exactly.
People come here and they get a podcast. I can't fail but one time with black folks.
Yeah.
Oh man, the sound messed up. Oh man, the camera angle went right.
Yep.
I'm gonna go somewhere else. I'm like a black quarterback. I can only get one chance.
That's it.
I get one chance.
You were like James Harris.
Yeah, like
James Harris got one time to get it right.
Get it right.
And all of his teammates supported him. But here's the funny one. Carl Rosenblum, who owned the franchise,
the Los Angeles Rams,
told John Robinson at the time, and you had a 6-foot quarterback, if he was 6 foot. You know where I'm going with this? Pat Hayden out of USC. Okay? That started after Jimmy Jones did. Remember Jimmy Jones, number 8 in your program?
Yeah.
Okay, Pat Hayden was 6 foot. And Fred Dreyer, the Pro Bowl defensive end, that later, number 89 in your program, that later became a TV star, said it was ironic that James Shaq Harris was 6'4", 6'4" and at 220. All he had to do was just reach the ball over. We said we would have been in the Super Bowl. But they gave it to Pat Hayden. He got stood up and pushed back.
But this is when you hear
Wow.
you say that, and what happened in as a black quarterback, he was the last position where they couldn't find faults.
Exactly.
But he was the first one he wasn't confident of. And this is the one that get me. James Harris,
Yes, sir.
Doug Williams,
Yes, sir.
Jefferson Street Joe, and you know more. All these guys are 6'3", 6'4".
Yes, sir.
And they always said, but all the quarterbacks who were athletics, they was 5'9" and 5'10", but they just can throw and do all. So when you got the 6'3", 6'4", where you need somebody to look over the line and be able to throw it down the field,
Yeah, exactly.
you still put a tag on it.
Yep.
They want, because in the tag was a hidden tag, NFL, is that when you call Budweiser and you call all the advertising folks, they don't want a black quarterback, so they give you money.
They give you
So
money.
they tell you who they want there.
Yeah.
Patton Hayden didn't let them last a day. And you don't remember him from the NFL.
No.
He was the TV and started making a little money.
Yeah, because they proclaimed that he was a Rhodes Scholar. Remember?
Yeah.
They say he was a Rhodes Scholar. So actually, they said, he had studied in Oxford, which I think is in England. He was that type of guy. He played up under John Robinson, who played some of the best tailbacks that ever played the game of football. Let's be realistic about it. Doug Flutie, they put him listed in the program at 5'10", but he was actually 5'8" and a half to 5'9", if he was that. Here's the funny part. I saw Doug Flutie come out of the locker room at the Cotton Bowl when Boston College was getting ready to play a ball game right here in the city of Dallas. You let Doug Flutie play. Not only did he play for the Chicago Blitz, he played for the Chicago Bears and later went where? To the Buffalo Bills. Had a 12-year, 13-year NFL career. Not before then, he won the Heisman Trophy. And guess what? He ended on
And that's the thing with the black quarterback is that they never get a chance, because when you look at it, the NFL changed the rules for the white quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, you can't hit him late. You can't touch him. You can't, because the D lines are so fast, which are black guys. You're getting back there so fast.
Those guys are so athletic.
So athletic. So now let's make a rule to protect our white quarterback. It ain't cost all. It wasn't made for the Lamar Jackson and all.
It was made to protect Tom Brady.
Tom Brady and
let's be real.
Let's be real.
Yeah.
The rule
that's what it was.
Exactly.
Peyton Manning's
and all of
all those guys.
The rule was
yeah. Josh Allen is in his own right. It was made for to protect him as well, but he's such a mobile quarterback. Yeah, he runs all the time. But they would prefer that he sit where? In the pocket.
And what happened, I don't know if it started with Whitey Tittle or with Otto Graham. Advertising in the NFL always made sure is that white guy like Joe Namath is the guy that's selling tickets.
Yeah.
Don't care about winning the Super Bowl, winning the game.
No, selling tickets. Yeah. And Joe only won one Super Bowl.
Just one.
That's it. And that was his claim to fame. When he went to he admitted he was washed.
Both knees messed up.
Both knees messed up, but his arm wasn't as great as it was. No. They said, well, he admitted himself he never should have been a starting quarterback. Should have been Shaq. And the reason why I say Shaq, all his teammates that's in
the area. Oh, you mean Bradshaw?
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw? Oh, yeah.
Oh, well, Terry Bradshaw,
and he was
6'1". He was, that's it. If he was 6'1", you know what I mean? And he couldn't move. Terry Henry, that came out of Notre Dame,
number 5 in your program,
was only maybe about 5'11" and a half or 6 foot.
Another guy.
Yeah. And Jefferson Street Joe,
he was third string. Right.
He was third string, but he was drafted a year or two ahead of Bradshaw. Remember, he was All-American quarterback at Notre Dame, where he was up for the Heisman Trophy and finished like maybe second to him.
Is it
Terry Henry?
Is it
number
true,
5?
Is it true that I gotta go look it up? Jefferson Street Joe, when Bradshaw went down, he didn't lose a game and lost his job.
He didn't lose a game and lost his job because Chuck Noll, the front office, sent down to Chuck Noll to say, hey, look, we need to play Terry Bradshaw. And when Mr. Gillum, the offensive coordinator, Joe's father, went to training camp to check on the son, just to see how he was doing. Funny part about it, he said Terry Bradshaw was walking around, chewing tobacco, passing gas and all that stuff. And Chuck Noll was just flabbergasted. by the way this guy was acting, how
Mm-hmm.
he was just out of control, wasn't even paying attention to what was going on. And he said, wow. He said, this is the guy you got playing quarterback? Yeah. Mhm.
And here, Mr. Gilliam, all his kids by discipline.
Yes, sir. Because they went to Catholic school.
Yeah.
They went to private school. Joey had an IQ. All these guys, the Dickey kid out of Houston, Jefferson Street Joe, all these guys had IQs of like 150, man. You're talking about highly intelligent young men.
And then the conspiracy of the black quarterback will say, "Oh, we'll put you a wide receiver." Well,
That's how they did Dickey.
I ain't never played wide receiver.
This is what they did to the Lord's Prayer. They put him in wide receiver. This guy was so gifted. Have you ever seen a guy that could throw even-handed? I had a friend. Well, I had a friend.
Wow,
this is ironic. I had a partner, a friend that I grew up with, you know, that could throw a football left-handed or right-handed, or punt it left-footed and right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you know what he played when he played high school football? He was a linebacker. Nobody ever thought to play him at quarterback. He went to Spruce High School, so do your homework on Spruce at that time. So you know he wasn't gonna play quarterback. But just growing up during the years, this guy was so it freaked us out. When we was kids, we go out.
That's
Yeah,
the word gifted.
he was gifted. We would go out for a pass. He would just sit back and he would throw even-handed, just as you know, just like he was throwing the ball with his right hand. We thought when we was catching the ball, oh, this is right. He's throwing me right. He said, no, man. He was just playing around. And he could stand flat-footed and sling the football 75 yards. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And the Lord's Prayer, Dickey, the one that went to Tennessee State, was that type of guy that could do that. And the guy in high school that played against him in 1967, he said, man, this guy would drop back when Houston Worthing was playing on Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, you know, where the NFL got their model and everything, they stole it from black high schools. Let's call it spade a spade. And this guy, Eldridge Dickey, he stepped back and they said, oh man, he got this guy wide open. Then he switched hands and threw it with his left. And he said, man, the DBs was looking and it freaked him out. The guy just ran past him and caught the ball for a touchdown. And this guy rolled to his left. So you thinking he's going to come back across with his right. No, he planted his feet and the receiver knew and kept running and he popped it out with his left hand.
Where the black quarterback asked you, and it's a shame that you, as a black quarterback, if you didn't make it, you got to go get your 9 to 5.
Yes, sir.
But now you had Canada, you got the XFL, you got the all these leagues coming back where you can go show your talent to get the NFL. But back then, they had nowhere to go. So
if you didn't go to Canada, if you didn't make it in the NFL, you just didn't go back to Canada. You
got to go get a job.
You had to go get a job. If you didn't have a degree, you had to go and get yourself a job.
And this is the thing that gets me about the black quarterback getting up in the NFL. Is that a black quarterback never get a chance to be a journeyman.
No.
He never get a chance. Like,
no.
What's the white quarterback with the beard?
You talking about not Dan
Fitzpatrick. He's been around forever.
And he played forever.
And he keep going around and being around and getting jobs. And he's a journeyman.
Yes. But all the time.
But when you're a white journeyman, he's gonna be a great access for the locker room.
Yes.
He's tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
But when you're a black quarterback, he done lost his step. He just wasting a roster spot. But Fitzpatrick wasting a roster spot too.
We can go all the way down the line. I'm gonna hit you with something that I'm pretty sure you knew about. You know, and I know we talk so much, and a lot of stuff hits us in the head, and we just forget about it. Here's a scenario right here. Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton in your program, New York Giants.
No, that's right. Fran Tarkenton ran all around everybody, even when he was with Minnesota.
Known as the scrambler.
That's it.
He beat the Giants. Then went to Minnesota.
Sure did. Yeah, because Drew Pearson caught the famous Hail Mary. You know. From Roger Staubach,
right? And
Tarkenton had just went where? To the bench. And he saw it. He said, "Oh man, this game is over with." You know, Nate Wright might,
Nate Wright.
Yeah, he might, sit up here and differ with us and say, "No, Drew pushed out," but Drew caught that ball, and I was there when he caught it.
Right.
And we had so many of that, man, where quarterbacks, the black quarterback never got the opportunity. Choo got drafted in the 16th round. Willie Thrower was the first black quarterback to ever throw a pass in the NFL.
Now tell me a little about Willie Thor.
Willie Thrower came out of one of those Division I schools. He was a running back out of Kingston, Pennsylvania. He was a running back. But Willie Thrower, they said in practice they had an all-star game.
Right.
And he was a better thrower than the three quarterbacks that they had selected in the all-star game,
now,
which was white.
You had a college all-star game, and they'll play whoever won the Super Bowl or the championship, they'll play them that summer.
Okay, this was a high school all-star game. And one of the white coaches saw it, just kidding around, just messing around with football, and said, this guy went back. He said, man, look at this guy. And the guy ended up going to college and playing quarterback. Broke several records. Willie Thrower. Here's the funny part about it. He ended up going to Chicago Bears, playing 2 years, and played his last year in the Canadian Football League.
Wow. He didn't get a chance to
as a running back. He only stayed 1 year at quarterback.
Never get a chance to be a journeyman.
Never got the opportunity.
Never.
But look at Doug. Doug won his Super Bowl. Doug will tell you right off the bat, I never got that opportunity.
And they asked me to go do the work. Or whatever they did. He didn't make the money like folks do with MVP.
Yeah, I'm going to Disney World.
Because he was MVP, right?
He was MVP. Yeah. You know, we got all the results right here, man.
This is the thing about with that Doug Williams. Folks don't know Doug Williams, Grambling State University, coached by the legendary, not just
legendary Eddie Robinson. Had more wins than anybody in college football.
And we call him Coach Rob.
Yeah.
Those who come up, we call him coach. But this guy, it's like I see it all the time. But his love for Coach Eddie Robinson, when you hear him talk,
it's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, that's his man.
Well, look at Shaq. You know, look at the other quarterbacks that came in out of Grambling, man. You had
Harris did go to Grambling.
Yeah.
James Harris. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you had the other big 6'5", 230-pound quarterback that came out of Grambling. Oh man, what is this guy's name right here? Yeah. They ended up making him a tight end. He was signed with the Denver Broncos as a free agent. I almost said Matthews. Man, I almost called this guy's name. And this guy was a big quarterback. He came in, Matthews. Can't think of this guy's name. You know, we go so far back, Spider, you know, with some of these guys.
Let me ask you this. They always say your peers know more than the coaches. You think back then white coaches knew that black quarterback was the shit?
Of course.
They knew.
Yeah, because only thing they couldn't do, the reason why they couldn't out recruit Coach Rob, because he was Coach Robinson, Eddie Robinson. You couldn't out recruit him. So those guys, just like Jake Gatter out of Florida A&M, when we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, he owned Florida A&M. He could go and get these guys. That's why he was able to get Ken Riley, who later,
number 13, your program.
Number 13, you played for Cincinnati as a defensive back.
Yes, but then with the wide receiver.
Yeah,
because on the expansion team.
Yeah.
See,
and later became the head coach at Florida A&M. So, it's Ken Riley. So you look at that, and then you look at the great Bob Hayes. Then you look at the other gentleman that played football at Florida A&M. Jake Gatter was that guy. He owned Florida A&M. He owned it because he got recruited Bobby Bowden, all those guys. And Bobby Bowden, and what I want to say is this right here. Bobby Bowden and all those other guys could not out recruit Coach Jake Gator. Could not recruit that.
And that's one thing about, again, when did that you hear something, sometimes you're really young. The day that when the Big Bopper died, what's the guy in the airplane?
Oh yeah, him and Richie Valens and all those guys.
You always hear him say the day the music died.
Yeah.
Well, this is my thing. When was the day that the SWAC died against NFL players? Because it's the SWAC, the NFL scouts and coaches were running to the SWAC. But now since Dion, when he was at Jackson State, he finally had a SWAC day. I said, it take y'all this long to come back to the SWAC?
Spider, integration hurt us. It hurt Coach Rob and them to the point to where now the guys could see that I don't have to go to Grambling. You know, I can go to LSU now. Okay, I can go to Louisiana Tech.
But I didn't know that kids can go to a D1 and just be over there and not playing where at a historic black college, you can go play.
Yeah.
But they rather not play except D1 just ride the bench. And I know with a kid we talking about last week and with University of Texas,
Sherrod.
he played for University of Texas for 4 years, never got a chance to start. He was he was an All-American at Bowie High School quarterback. Remember? Yeah.
Yeah, I know you're talking about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Sherrod. Got a degree, got both degrees at University of Texas.
Didn't he end up playing receiver or something?
No, they tried to stay quarterback.
Stay
Got
the
him like 2 games, 4
I know
years.
exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, but the thing is that it started because they had 2 white boys with
Yep.
Phil Sims' son and another kid or whoever it was. They tried to highlight them. They were terrible.
They were horrible.
They were terrible. And we're not racist. We talking about you're a bad quarterback. You bad.
Well,
The Buffalo, he bad.
we look at John Childs that came out of Grand
Yeah.
Prairie. That's the quarterback I was thinking about. John Childs was an all-state quarterback out of Grand Prairie, one of the Grand Prairie high schools, went to University of Texas, was very highly recruited. At SMU, Tech, A&M, wanted Child as a quarterback.
But see, that's the other thing that gets me. How that it come down. Well, you'll see some institutions is that they ain't got no choice but to have a black quarterback. But they finally crossed over. Like Ohio State, they led 10 quarterbacks been black.
It's been black, yeah.
They
Yeah.
had Art Schlichter, who won a Heisman, and McGamlin, he never makes a pro. He didn't do nothing.
Well, they suspended him. Remember?
Yeah, 'cause
they
yeah.
kicked him out the league,
Yeah,
because he was gambling.
yeah, right.
But look who replaced him. Look who Schlichter was up against.
Who's that?
Rod Gerald, South Dakota.
Roger.
Okay, before you had Rod Gerald, who did you have before Rod Gerald? Cornelius Green.
Cornelius Green, number 7 in your program.
That's right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
number 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was 6'2", 6'3". Never got a chance to.
Came to the
play
Cowboys as a backup
Backup
wide
wide
receiver
receiver.
as a free agent.
Ain't that something?
Ain't that something? Cornelius Green had in the backfield
Cornelius Green,
Archie Griffin,
Archie Griffin,
See-
2-time Heisman winner.
2-time Heisman winner. And you had this guy playing quarterback at Ohio State for Woody Hayes,
Mm-hmm.
who came down here and got Rod Gerald from South Oak Cliff, people.
But when you say about the black quarterback, I go back to the kid over, and I ain't going that for it. But when I look at him, I see Lamar Jackson, I see a little bit of Mahomes, I see black quarterback, and that guy is Ricky Wesson, who played at SMU.
Yeah.
He was, but see, you can't be 6 feet in college or pros, and they like you no matter what your numbers are.
Ricky came out of South Oak Cliff. And when Ricky came out of SOC, people don't even understand this. Ricky started out 4 years at SMU. Ricky 1 year had 1,000 yards receiving.
He did.
Throwing and rushing.
Yeah.
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 See, and his running back was his homeboy, Wayne Morris, and Alvin Maxson that came out of Beaumont.
Now, let me ask you this. On a black quarterback, was that a circus for Jerry Jones, or he was just jumped on the bandwagon? He had 3 black quarterbacks on his
And people don't even remember that.
on his roster.
He had Wright, he had Tony Banks, and he had Quincy Carter. Quincy Carter was 3rd-round draft choice out of University of Georgia. And Tony Banks came out of Michigan State. And Wright, David, was it David Wright? No, David. I know you're talking about.
It was
He came out of Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
He had 3 quarterback black.
Yeah.
It was the boy who started. What's his name from Georgia?
Quincy Carter. You never would have heard of it. Then you had Tony Banks out of Michigan State. And then you had Wright.
Yeah, right.
Can't think of the kid name.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Out of Louisville.
Louisville.
Yeah.
So and then when they were getting black quarterback and he trying to win, and the NFL trendy.
But I'm gonna let you in on the secret, and I want all our listeners to understand this. You never would have heard of Tony Romo had Quincy Carter not had his issues. Think about it, because Bill Parcells loved Quincy Carter.
Well,
Fell in love with it.
Yeah, because before Romo got in and started being the quarterback, it really was who should be the quarterback. It should be Quincy Carter.
Yeah. See, Quincy Carter,
Yeah.
you think about that for a minute, Spike. Quincy Carter in his 4 years, well, his 3 years of starting quarterback for the Cowboys, he was Quincy Carter had one of the most top winningest records as a Cowboy
Well,
quarterback.
1 year he went 14-2 or
He sure
14-1.
He sure did. And Bill Parcells loved him until, like I said, he got he got some issues. His old issues came back to haunt him.
But let me ask you this. And this is a black quarterback, that's a black athlete. When you're a black quarterback, you are diverse. Mahomes,
Yeah.
Christian Cole, they baseball players.
Quincy played 3 or 4 years of baseball before he went to Georgia.
Yeah.
Number 17 in your program, Cowboy fans. Y'all remember Quincy
And
Carter?
boy, Mahomes, he's a hell of an athlete. Football, he excelled football, basketball,
And baseball. Yeah.
But,
See.
but the thing is, a black quarterback don't get the chance to showcase their talent.
No.
You know, he got to be gifted or he can go out the door.
He's got to be gifted, and now they're saying he has to be able to read defense. Dak Prescott.
Yeah.
Now, when I read the scouting report on Dak Prescott, and a lot of people said, well, Dak Prescott this, Dak Prescott that. It said, I saw 2 scouting reports on Dak Prescott. They said he was going to be taken in about the 3rd to the 5th round.
Second round, wasn't it?
He was supposed to be, because, you know, he was up for the Heisman Trophy, and don't you know, his junior year, he could have came out,
Yeah, I remember.
and he would have been
Yeah.
a number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
Think about it. He had over 2,000 or 3,000 yards passing and over 1,000 yards rushing, and Dak Prescott finished 3rd in the Heisman Trophy.
See, when you're a black quarterback,
Ain't that something?
when you're a black quarterback, you got to go through all the gambit
Yes.
from A to Z. You can't
Yep.
do the season. You can't do this. Can't do that. When they project you to be a first-round pick white quarterback, some team going to get you.
Yeah.
A black quarterback, it's still gonna be the test phase.
But you remember now, his junior year, his mother passed.
Yeah, but see,
Going into that spring,
yeah.
and then his head was kind of not all the way there. So he
Yeah,
came
right.
back to school to do what he just promised her he was going to do. Get
But
his degree.
one thing that gets me though is that with black quarterbacks, you know, with him, where black quarterbacks they can't be able to shine sometimes.
It's a system.
And the system is that, you know, you stay here because and we took care of you, you're going to play quarterback. And I'm going back with this OC at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Billerman.
Yeah,
Who can't get a job.
Yeah, played at the University
The
of Colorado.
the OC at Tampa Bay, who's supposed to be going to Pittsburgh, the brother, OC.
How many OC?
He was quarterback, Byron
Leverage. He was quarterback at the University of
That's
Marshall.
my point.
You know who he threw to? Randy Moss.
And that's my point. My point is, damn, okay, I can't play quarterback. I'm not, you got young blood. I can't, if I play quarterback, be an offensive coordinator or assistant coordinator, learning.
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
The funny part about this whole thing is the Dallas Cowboys, right here, the Dallas Cowboys has yet to have an offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator.
Wow.
But you had at one particular time in training camp, you had 3 black quarterbacks, and the average Cowboy fan don't remember that.
Well, my thing about when they came, that's what we want to highest paid salary is the left tackle or right tackle to protect the quarterback.
It's a left tackle.
Left tackle, they want it, yeah.
Okay, think about that. When you had,
But let me tell you how they work though. They say, oh, you too much of conspiracy theory. Well,
no, it's not conspiracy.
the white quarterback going to protect him. If you don't get hurt, get damaged, whatever, sell, ticket. But the guy who blocked on that blind side, most likely a white boy because that's why the Michael Parsons, all those guys beat them because they're too slow, out of shape.
Yeah.
But you keep them in the league by keeping a job for them.
That's it. And then
You keep a job for them.
who was Troy Aikman's left tackle?
The boy got killed.
Mark Tuinei, who was converted defensive lineman to offense,
Right.
should be in the Hall of Fame. Don't you know after they converted him, he made 7 to 8 Pro Bowls.
He should have been there.
Should have been there.
But when I look at this black quarterback, and I just look at it because I'm gonna watch the game tomorrow.
We are.
And
We
I
sportsmen.
don't have a favorite team. I may have a favorite situation. But I guess I like Jalen Hurts' story because he was patient.
Yeah.
In Alabama, they put another guy in, and that's the rule. If you're on the bench and you lose your job, you lose your job.
Yeah.
But he wasn't satisfied with one ring.
He
He
wasn't.
was said, I want to play.
And that's why he transferred to OU.
Oklahoma. Yeah.
That's why he transferred. He was able to play
But
at
you hear the
OU.
pundits say, oh, where the loyalty, where the loyalty with y'all?
Yeah. We're loyalty with y'all. That's
Yeah,
right.
where the loyalty?
Yeah. And here's the funny part about it. Everybody talk about the Cowboys. They said, well, the Cowboys are this, Cowboys. Dak has to have weapons. Didn't you give weapons to Troy? You had number 88,
Number 80, Harper.
Harper, and then you had the best running back.
What about the tight end they had?
Jay Novacek, number 84 in your program.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't forget about the best running back that probably might have played. I can't say the best that ever played the game, but he's still what? The leading rusher ever. Emmitt Smith, number 22 in your program.
Yeah, at 22,000 yards.
That's right. So look at the weapons he had and look at his Pro Bowl offensive line. You had Mark Tuinei, perennial Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
You had Grogan, Giesick. You had your center, Stavnovsky. All those guys were Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
And guess what? If he hadn't got hurt in that car accident, he might be listening to us right now.
Mm-hmm.
He stays right here in Mesquite. Eric Williams, number 79 in
Big
your program. Big E was. And they consider him one of the best tackles to ever play the game.
So he was so agile, so
they said, man, he beat you to death. They say he beat you to death. Okay. So what is happening is when we sit back and we look at stuff like that, we forget how he was surrounded by, talent. How he was surrounded by some of the best talent. So we got to look at that, fam. We can't just look back and say, okay, Dak has to have this. Every quarterback has to have a supporting cast. Let's be realistic with ourselves. Any quarterback that you see, any quarterback that plays that position in the NFL, you have to surround him with talent. Look at Trevor Lawrence at Jacksonville, surrounded with talent. Now he has a couple of wide receivers he can throw to. He has Travis Etienne, the running back from Clemson, his ex-team, well, not his ex-teammate, his teammate at Clemson. Now he's playing with him at Jacksonville, a young man that's out of Houston, Texas. Come on, y'all. So this guy has what? A reasonably strong defense. So this guy has tools. He has the talent. He has people around him. So let's don't get it twisted where Dak has to have tools that, hey, Jalen Hurts has tools. Philadelphia went out and got the tools for Jalen Hurts. Okay, they went out and got A.J. Brown, wide receiver. They got a couple more wide receivers. They got a running back. Okay, they got Sanders out of Penn State that came out after whom? After Shaquan Barkley. He was Shaquan Barkley's backup at where? At Penn State. So now you got all these guys. So we sit back and we get upset when they talk about what quarterbacks have to have. You got to get surrounded with people. Every NFL team that's been in the Super Bowl would tell you we surrounded our quarterback with what? Some talent. Mm-hmm. Every quarterback that that has went to the Super Bowl has had what? Talent. He has talent around him. So, look at Joe Montana. And, talent. He had Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Roger Craig. Later on, then they picked up whom? Ricky Waters. They picked up, then you had John Taylor. You had Jerry Rice. You had the tight end. Oh, man, who's this guy? He was excellent tight. Plus, they had their offensive line, and then they had one of the best defense running line. But we forget about who they had on the defensive line. Charles Haley. You had Michael the Shot Put Carter out of SMU / TJ DISD, young man.
Well, one of the guys that was black quarterback, and I think that he was a trendsetter for the 2000s or for the next generation, is the boy out of Tennessee State. McNair, where was he from?
McNair was out of Alcorn.
Alcorn.
Yeah, I remember when he came here. He played, they played out at Texas Stadium. He played against TSU, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. They stayed, it was 1990, 1991. They stayed at the, wasn't Regency Hotel. They stayed at, it was a hotel in far north Dallas where they stayed at. I remember when the cat came up.
Oh, it was
great. His first name was Steve Earl McNair. His brother was in training camp with the Dallas Cowboys, who was a wide receiver, switched to quarterback at Alcorn State, and ended up came to the Cowboys as a free agent, didn't even make the team. Fred McNair, that later became one of the coaches at Alcorn State. You didn't know that, did you?
I didn't know that.
And then Steve Earl McNair threw to his brother, the middle brother, that played wide receiver.
Mm. Well, it's amazing about HBCUs, especially the history of the black quarterback. And the NFL had all these little subtitles. You had to do this.
Yeah.
And the main thing that you had to be over 6'1", 6'2". And the guy who was 6'2" and 6'3" never got a shot with Willie Totten.
Willie Totten was the one that threw Jerry Rice.
You're right.
So
how can a guy you throw to not get a look?
How can this guy only broke most of the NCAA records at quarterback, coached by who? Archie Cooley, Gunslinger Cooley, said this about it. His quarterback at that particular time wasn't very great. So he said, we go to the youngster. That was Willie Totten. This is from Coach Cooley's mouth. He said, when I put him in, not one, not twice, not 3 times, 4 times, he threw 4 touchdowns, and this was all in the second half. And he said, I looked at my offensive coordinator. This kid will never get his job back. You know, Willie Totten. Then he went to get Jerry Rice. People don't even know Jerry Rice was a quarterback when he got the Alcorn, switched to wide receiver.
Get out of here.
Yes, sir. I did my homework.
Wow. And a kid that, let's see, that's why the NFL, they got their own, it's about money. And when you're a quarterback, a black quarterback, they don't want to, when you spend money as a draft pick on a black player, especially a quarterback,
the
NFL say you're wasting money.
Yeah.
How can you win the Heisman, Charlie Ward, and not be in the NFL?
That's where I was going next. With Charlie Ward, how in the world do you draft a 5'9" quarterback out of Boston College and you missed out on Charlie Ward and won the Heisman Trophy?
Yeah.
He was 6'1", 6'2".
And during his career, he only lost 2 games.
Only lost 2 games and started, 3 or 4 years, he was at Florida State under Coach Bowden.
Yeah. But the NFL, they put that tag on around the league. He's too short.
Yeah.
So what they did is that they get him, try to do him favors by going to hoop in the NBA. He could hoop anyway.
Yeah,
don't try to do him
because he
favors.
was starting point guard at Florida State.
Yeah.
So why would you do him any favors?
Sam Cassell.
Yeah.
So don't do me no favors.
Exactly. That was a great insult to me. That was a great insult to a whole lot of, not only black quarterbacks, but black people that follow the NFL. How can we follow the NFL and we see something like this happen to Charlie Ward, Heisman Trophy?
But I go back to my business. He never get a chance to fail. We never saw him in an NFL uniform.
Spider, you can't fail.
It's all.
You have to be. Your mother used to tell you, or your grandmother, one of them
always both. I know where you going.
You said, son, you got to be 10 times better.
10 times better.
I couldn't get it. Somebody used to say you have to be 2 times better. But my mother said, no, son, you got to be 10 times better with a prayer. On top of that,
with a prayer, yeah.
Well, on top of that, that somebody saw what something that they felt like they could relish and say, yeah, I need this guy.
And the thing was, this is the other thing that the demise of the black quarterback in the NFL for me is that this guy, Charlie Ward, graduated with his degree. He's a smart kid.
He graduated on 3.0.
Yeah.
And here you are. That particular year, you had several white quarterbacks that didn't even have that degree. But they got drafted as number 1 draft picks and went on to pursue an NFL career.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man.
You were speaking earlier about Patton Hayden being a Rhodes Scholar.
Yes.
And the NFL play, he was a white-haired quarterback. They realized that he wasn't a good quarterback, so he gave him a job as an analyst on TV.
Yeah.
But they always had hanging, he's a Rhodes Scholar.
Yeah.
Well, here the brother, what's the guy named Roll? The guy went to Florida State and gave up the NFL. Samaje Roll.
Yeah.
Became a doctor. He was a Rhodes Scholar as well.
Brain surgeon.
But you all didn't use that for him to go play football.
No.
Yeah.
Well, look at Eldridge Dickey with an IQ. Joey Gillum. These guys had IQ of 150. Mm-hmm. Now they say once you get, the average person has an IQ of 75. That means you just borderline literally.
Right.
You borderline literally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you have an IQ of 100 or above, you got something going for you. But 150 is the highest IQ you can go. So that means you are very highly intelligent.
Very much.
Yeah. That means you can go anywhere and comprehend anything and then come out on top of anything. Because look at it like this. You got a high IQ of 150. I had a partner of mine told me one time. This is crazy. He said, I never will read a book. I said, okay. He said, I went to school. I said, what was your major when you was in college? He said, I majored in English. I said, oh, did you get your degree? No. I said, how can you talk intelligently to a kid that you trying to recruit and you never even had a degree?
Well, and that makes sense because
I'm like, wow.
I'm going down the road and you can help me with it. We're gonna go through because you
Let's drive down this road.
Okay, I'm gonna name throughout they've been in the NFL, have they had a black quarterback in name? Let's start with in the NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. They ever have a black quarterback?
Michael Vick.
Michael Vick. Okay. New Orleans Saints have had a quarterback.
James Winston.
What about Carolina Panthers?
I can go back. They had James Winston. Remember they had Sean King.
Sean King, yeah. What about Carolina? Cam
Newton. I don't know why. Yeah, I drew a blank on that one. That was Cam Newton. Exactly.
What about Tampa Bay?
Doug Williams. Pernell Dickerson before him.
And
James Winston.
So there's the 4 teams over there. Yeah. So let's go to the NFC North. Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah. Culpepper. Dante Culpepper. Number 11 in the program. Yeah.
By Detroit.
Yeah.
Rodney
Peete.
Rodney Peete.
Played a little bit with the Cowboys. Remember, was the Cowboys backup quarterback 1 year.
Yeah. What about Chicago Bears?
Yeah. Vince Evans.
It's amazing your program.
Yeah. Now Justin Fields.
Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And the last team over there in the AFC North is Green Bay Packers.
Backup quarterbacks. You know, you can start with Choo Bracken. You can work your way up to the young man. They got backing up the young man named Henley. They had backing up They had backing up Rodgers, the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And now, I don't know who you got backing them up. They have a black quarterback now.
Love, yeah. But we found out that they didn't have a whole lot of good black quarterbacks to Green Bay.
Never. After Choo Brackens, and that was like what, in the late 50s?
Right.
They never ever gave another black quarterback the opportunity to play that position. Because you already had Bart Starr.
All right, folks, racism ain't in the South, it's in the North too.
That's it.
So now we go to the NFC West, the LA Rams.
Shaq Harris.
Yeah.
John Walton out of Elizabeth City State, Jeffro Pugh School.
What about San Francisco 49ers?
They got one now. They got the kid that's
back in the day, they never had one.
They had a kid named Davis that was supposed to have a hearing. He's supposed to be like a kid that had a learning disability. His name was Davis, but they had him for a little while, and that was about it.
But the Los Angeles, I did Los Angeles, San Francisco. Yeah. What about over there? Who else over there on that side with them? Seattle.
Seattle. Well, Russell Wilson.
But before that,
you had that's the key. You know, who did they have before Russell Wilson? Don't know.
What about Arizona Cardinals?
Arizona had not outside of Cali. No.
Ain't that something?
The
last conference in NFC is, let's go with Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys had Tony Banks, Quincy Carter, and they had Wright. The young man name was Wright. Was a pretty good quarterback. And then they ended up getting Dak Prescott. But before those guys, remember they had Reggie Collier.
That's your thing.
Yeah, number 10 in your program.
Reggie Collier,
out of Southern Miss.
His coach was Collins, right?
Yes, Bobby Collins that came to SMU.
Yeah,
got the death penalty.
Yeah. Washington
Redskins had Campbell out of Auburn.
And
then they had
6'4" quarterback.
6'4", then the kid Haskins that died.
Haskins.
And I was gonna say Doug for last. Yeah.
Who else did that Washington had?
They had the Haskins kid that passed away.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, they had him because he was drafted real high. Yeah. I was gonna say Doug for last. Yeah.
And what about the Giants? I can't think of one they had unless he was a backup. Mm-hmm. And that was it. And he didn't stay long. So it wasn't the idea that, racism, the owners always had this excuse, well, I feel comfortable with someone. Nobody look like me.
Yeah.
I like that.
That was their balance. That was their thing. That was they get out of jail card. Hey, here you go. This is what we see. Mm-hmm. This is what we look at. Didn't we? Hey, I just want somebody to know. Think about the offense and defense coordinators the Cowboys never had. The closest one you had was Chris Richard. Mm-hmm. Herbert Alexander that was a receivers coach when Michael Irvin was here. When they went in them Super Bowl,
Yeah, Coach A. Mm-hmm.
Coach Axe came where? From Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Axe was the only black coach at Miami.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson.
With Jimmy Johnson, and he brought him with him to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Axe.
Let's go there.
They went to Florida A&M.
Let's go to the AFC. New York Jets.
Quincy Carter. And you know, they had Quincy, then they had Geno Smith, remember?
Geno Smith.
You're the quarterback now that played in the Pro Bowl last week that was with Seattle.
What about New England Patriots? Before Cam on there, I don't know.
Michael Bishop.
Michael Bishop?
Out of Kansas State, the year that he went to the national championship, they drafted him in the 7th round. He lasted 1 year. And that's the reason why I wonder. And you laughing at me because here's the funny part about it. He was better than Drew. He was better than Drew Bledsoe. Michael Bishop, number 7 in your program, out of Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State.
Skipper played with Bill Snyder.
Yeah.
All-American. He went to JUCO before he went to Kansas State. Remember? Hey, Kansas State was ranked one of the top 3 teams.
Bishop.
Yes, Michael Bishop was drafted in the 7th round.
What about so New England did the Jets? What about Buffalo?
Shaq Harris.
Shaq, he was.
Yeah.
He was.
He was with Buffalo for a couple of years before. Yeah, before he started kind of bouncing around a little bit. You had Shaq Harris, and you had
another kid.
You had another kid that's still playing. The young man. That's
the boy.
playing.
Yeah, the little guard. Like a guard.
No.
What's his name? Both his first name and his last name got the same initial.
Yeah.
What's his name? He was a short quarterback. One of them going to Houston Texans for a minute.
Yep.
Yeah. I know it.
Yeah, he played.
What about Miami Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins had I draw a blank with Miami because I'm trying to think. I want to say they did.
They had one, but I don't know if he ever played.
Marlon Briscoe.
Marlon Briscoe.
Did he ever play?
Did he ever get?
Because he was a wide receiver.
They moved the wide receiver.
They moved the wide receiver.
I gotta go check that out.
Out of University of Omaha.
Yeah.
Just everything out of college. Went to Denver.
Number 86 in
number
your
86 in your program. Made the Pro Bowl a couple times at wide receiver. Yeah. And he played quarterback for one season. People don't even remember in Denver. And I can't get the life of me, but I know it was somebody else in Miami that they had to have had.
Let's go to the AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, we can go to Pittsburgh. You had John Walton. You had what's my man name?
Jefferson Street Joe.
Jefferson Street Joe. You had Hines Ward. And you had
the quarterback?
The quarterback.
Hines Ward?
I mean, not Hines Ward, the kid, Charlie, oh man.
Oh yeah, they were high on him.
Yeah, Charlie Burton.
They had the guy, he was before, what was it?
Charlie Batch.
Charlie Batch.
Charlie Batch.
I like him.
He was pretty good.
Yeah. And before Rosenberg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Charlie.
And then
Batch.
he stayed on.
He
became Rosenberg. He was Detroit. That's right.
Charlie
and he
Batch.
stayed on and became Roethlisberger backup. And then when Roethlisberger got hurt, he was the one that kept him alive. Remember, one year their playoff hopes was almost shot because they tried to go with somebody else, and somebody was intelligent enough to think, we got this guy right here.
Yes, you were.
And he ended up winning the last 5 or 6 games to help them get to the playoffs. Yeah.
What about Tennessee Titans?
Tennessee Titans, yeah. You had my man that won the national championship.
What was that?
Vince Young, number 10 in your program, University of Texas.
Young, yeah.
Yeah.
He with who?
He with Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans, Vince
Yeah.
Young. Mm-hmm.
Let's do by way of Houston, the Houston Oilers. You had my man, we just got through talking about it. Steve Earl McNair.
Mm-hmm.
And then before him, you had Warren Moon. Number 1 in your program out of University of Washington, the year that they won the Rose Bowl. And he was MVP in 1978.
And this is the thing that get me, I'm gonna get back to that. Do you count his records in the Canadian League with the NFL?
Wow, that's hard to say.
Hard to say.
Yeah, because
he had to go up there 4 years or 5 years.
He did 4 or 5 years up
before
there.
coming to the NFL.
Before going to the Houston Oilers.
Yeah.
And they made a big announcement that they had signed this guy. I said, wow, it's about time. Because he was tearing up the Canadian League.
And he won the Rose Bowl. You ain't gonna draft this guy?
That's what everybody was saying. And that particular year, Spider, he threw for almost 3,000 yards.
Yes.
The starting quarterback almost threw for 3,000 yards. And this guy played in the Senior Bowl. Didn't even get drafted. He had to sign. He said several teams came to him after the draft, and he said, "Nah, the money they offered him, they at that time they drove the truck up to his front door. They said, hey, name your price." And he played 4 years. His first year, he almost, I think 1 year, this dude did something ridiculous, like passed almost 5,000 yards. Yeah.
Let's stay over there. What about Cleveland Browns?
David Mays,
David Mays,
and then we can go with maybe somebody else, man. I draw a blank on that was there with the Cleveland Browns, man. Oh, the kid that they got now that played with the Indianapolis Colts, he was with New England. He's bouncing around. He's over there now. I can't think of the kid right now, but he played last year. In the year before, he was with the Cleveland. Well, the year before, he was with the Indianapolis Colts. He was with Cleveland Browns this year. What's that kid name?
What about the Baltimore? How you know Lamar
Carl
Jackson?
Douglas, Lamar Jackson,
the boy from Baylor,
which was Robert Griffin, the Heisman Trophy winner, and you drafted Kirk Cousins in the 3rd or 4th round out of Michigan State. And when this kid, you did dishonest to this kid, when he got hurt, you know he was a running quarterback.
Yeah, he was a quarterback.
Injuries, after 3 or 4 years, injuries done it in. 2 knees, 2 ACL, concussions and stuff. That really done him in, man. The guy, after 4 or 5 years, was beat up.
Well, let's stay with any coach, but we slash Baltimore coach. But all I know is Johnny Unitas.
Carl Douglas. And people don't even know it. If I'm not mistaken, Carl Douglas should have got a Super Bowl ring the year that they played against the Cowboys. Yeah, he was the 3rd string quarterback. But then they had a taxi squad. Remember, like a 6-man, 8-man taxi squad. He was on that for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Then he ended up going to the World League and then just basically, out of football. But this guy played 2 or 3 years in the NFL. And if I'm not mistaken, I guarantee he got him a Super Bowl ring. Mm-hmm. And people don't even remember him. Carl Douglas. Yeah. Carl Douglas.
Let's stay up that way.
We can park that.
No, we stay up that way because I'm gonna go in the AFC West. I'm gonna come back. Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm being my father is Lynn Dawson, but I know they had a black quarterback somewhere down the line.
Nobody but Patrick Mahomes that I can remember. Patrick Mahomes, the ones you're gonna see tomorrow, that's playing tomorrow, that owe a lot to the Pioneers, and these guys really owe their careers to the Pioneers that played before them.
And what about their rival, the Oakland Raiders?
You talking about the Oakland Raiders? Where you had
Vince Evans for a minute.
Yeah, then you had Vince Evans for a minute. And then you had the kid that's playing right now.
DeMarcus Russell for a minute.
The kid that's playing now with the Houston Texans. Whatever we
he
was there. Yeah, he was there for a little while. Yeah. So they kind of bounced around a little bit. I think Vince was there first, if I'm not mistaken, and then all these guys came later.
They had one for the San Diego Chargers. They had Bristol.
For the San Diego Chargers, they sure did. They had Bristol. Yeah,
for a little while.
In San Diego, they had they had another guy that was there. Mm-hmm. I'm drawing a blank right now. So really, honestly, we got to really, really, really do our homework because there was some more guys, but all these guys it's easy for us to talk about the guys that were before them because there was so few of them. Now now you got more guys, but they still run into the same obstacle. And like I told everybody, and I had to remind some friends of mine, without Quincy Carter doing what he did, screwing up, what hurt Tony Romo?
Yeah.
Remember that game, Tony Romo against Buffalo? And everybody was, like Tony Romo's been with. He threw 5 interceptions. They won that game in overtime when the guy kicked 2 52-yard field goals. And remember, one, they had iced it. And they called it back. He had to come back and do it again. But nobody remembers that Monday night game when Tony Romo threw 5 interceptions.
One thing about being a black quarterback, and I said before, you only get a one and done. But one thing about Dallas and some other programs around the country, the quarterback position is safe for you to be able to get anything you want.
Yeah.
But when we gonna be accountable, yes, Quincy Carter messed up.
Yeah, he did.
But this is the thing though. Yeah. The NFL got that old boy rule. Say, are you there? I got this goddamn kid down here in Dallas. He just fucking up.
Yeah.
So now he blackballed.
He blackballed.
Baltimore won't give him a job. The
No.
Rams won't give him a job. Atlanta won't give him a job. And we saw the terrible teams who could have used him.
Oh man, Quincy could have been, if Quincy had stayed in Dallas, Quincy would have been a Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
And you never knew how many playoff games he probably would have won.
But what you see though is the owners is that they look out for each other because they don't get that guy. You had him. I don't want him. Well, he may change.
Who owns the team? You don't have a black owner. There's no black ownership.
No ownership. And that what happened, speaking of that, on 2 weeks ago, when they went out and the owner hired a guy who ain't won nothing, Frank Reich, whatever it is.
Replacement. His name was Saturday, offensive lineman.
And he been a journeyman.
Never.
Good job.
Yeah. And you go out and you bypass the enemy. You bypass. You bypass him.
Mm-hmm.
You bypass several offensive coordinators. Matter of fact, Flores, that was a head coach in Miami. That's an assistant coach now. They just got an offensive coordinator job. And think about this: his career was saved by who? Another black coach.
And see, and this is the thing I had this problem as I run this company, TGN Powerplay, our podcasting company. Had a lady about 3 or 4 years ago came to us, and she was at another station in another studio, and we had did her first show, and then we had some issues, but we always welcome to do it free. I said, baby, you come at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I'll be there. You want to.
Yeah.
But she tried to just steady harp on the negative. I'm going somewhere with the sports analogy. Is that she said, well, the only reason I come to you because you're black. I said, no, come to me because I'm good. Don't come to me because I'm black.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to be known as that.
Yeah.
I say this for this. Did the owners hire the black coach for the Texans who came from, where did he come from? They just hired him.
He came from where did that guy come from?
He just got they in the playoff.
Yeah.
Was it Kansas City? Like what his defense went off for his defense.
You must be talking about Flores then.
Right.
Not Flores.
He just got hired by the Texans. And he was the defense coordinator for it Kansas City? Anyway, where they fired Lovey.
Yeah.
And hired him. And my point is, I hope they didn't hire him because it's black.
Yeah.
Hire him because he's good at what he do.
Well, Dr. King said, it's not the color of a man's skin, but the content of his character.
Wow, watch out, preacher.
See, that's what he said back in the day. He said, I want to live in a country. He said, I want my kids to live in a country where they're not judged by the color of their skin, but the content of the character.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the flip side of that, they telling you, well, the content of the character is not there. Okay.
Oh, I got that.
They flipping that. They flipping that on you. They saying, so now what Jerry Jones and all his colleagues are saying, and I'm not just harping on Jerry because Jerry hadn't had a track record. We know what we know what Jerry stood for, and Jerry know what he stood for. I'm not saying anything that's out there unordinary. 1954, 57, when he stood in that with his buddies, to prevent those kids from enrolling in school. Jerry knew what the situation
but see,
was. He'll lie to you.
He'll lie in a minute.
Yeah.
But see, I got this other beef I'm having. Talking about the black quarterback and talking about these big owners. One of the things that's going around, I don't know if people are noticing, is that you talk about the guy that had the IQ.
Yeah.
Rowe.
Eldridge Dickey. Yeah.
Well, not Dickey, the guy named Rowe. What's his name?
Somali Rowe.
Yeah, talk about guys who know the game and they know the game, the terminology. Well, and I know some of his show is like his showcase. But why is never a black guy who played the football game know the game inside out? Never get a shot to be a color analyst. So you've been getting Brady $25 million. So you paid Tony Romo. You saw how terrible the tight end guy was. What's his name?
Olsen.
No, for the Cowboys who lost who stayed 1 year, the entire year.
Oh, you talking about Jason Witten?
Yeah, you saw how terrible he was.
Willing, yeah, you paid him.
You paid. Yeah. So my point, every time the league is 75% black, every time a black guy, tier C, tier B, and tier A guy is black guy, out of all them tiers, it ain't one guy that y'all can let him be a color analyst and know the game.
Tony Romo, to me, is not a good analyst. Tony Romo almost said the N-word a couple of weeks ago when they played.
Yeah.
And nobody has ever said anything about it yet.
No.
But
They not.
But you go, Michael Irvin go in the hotel room. He's Michael Irvin. You know, and a woman can say this and say that, and you automatically jump to conclusions. You know,
he was trying to get with her.
That's the key. You know, you jump to conclusion. But Tony Romo almost said what he said, and I haven't seen now individual. I saw one white guy that said, "Listen to this," and I listened. I looked at it on YouTube, and he almost said because he feels comfortable that he can say that.
Yeah,
and Tony Romo, and they said, "Well, Tony Romo's a quarterback." He understands. I look at it like this: he played quarterback. Tony Romo should understand something about defense. He should have seen different formations that the defense ran.
Yeah.
Man, you paying this man millions of dollars? He should. He's a professional quarterback. All this stuff that he's saying, he's calling out, that shouldn't be nothing that's,
Well, to hear you say that, it's so ironic that Jerry didn't pull the plug and got Dak. But Dak had to have some good game, made them started Romo and got job back. But the flip side of that was that not only he got it, that they didn't push Romo out, is that they made sure that he got paid.
They made sure, yeah.
He got paid for
that. You know, his contract, when he got hurt, he still had 4 years on his contract. 4
years ago.
Not 1, not 2. He had 4 years on his contract when he got hurt in Seattle. Nobody touched him. He just went down. Wow. He tried to scramble and went down, and that was his season right there. Because he had already had 2 or 3 back surgery. And we all know backs don't heal. They might feel better from time to time, but let's just be realistic.
And then the other thing you should get me about black quarterback, we lost 3 years, about 2.5 years. Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, wasted.
Because he had Randall Cunningham we didn't bring up.
Yeah.
He backed up him. He backed up Jeff George or somebody.
Yeah, he backed up Troy here in Dallas 1 year.
Who, Dante?
My man Randall Cunningham.
Yeah, I'm talking about Dante Culpepper.
Yeah, Dante Culpepper. The sad part about that is, look at Jamarcus Russell.
Great interview on the Pivot. You go watch it.
Yeah.
He broke it down.
He broke it down. And the guy, they said, well, his weight, and he was this, he was that, he was out of the league, and 3 or 4 years.
6'5" phenom.
Yeah.
That they didn't want to invest in, but they do a white quarterback. They invest in time, everything.
Yeah.
Now, do I know he went to the? Did you want to be invested in? Yeah, but he sit on the interview like he'll be sitting on the sideline, and he the starting quarterback. They run the play with the second string for the third string quarterback.
Yeah.
They run it for the Sunday game.
Well, Doug Williams said, he said, here I am, not only won the Super Bowl, he said I was Super Bowl MVP. Something happened to the first string quarterback, Mark Brunell.
Number 8 in your program, wound up going to the expansion team over at Jacksonville.
Yeah. And got a concussion. Doug got his helmet ready. Just knew he was going in. No, they got this other guy, kid that they had drafted, a third string quarterback. And said, you go in and told Doug, you come back to the sideline. Doug said, it hurt him so bad, man.
I know.
He said, here I am, ready to go in. Mark Brunell is not better than Doug. But they saw that Mark Brunell was, because they drafted him and they said, hey, he's going to be this guy in Washington. He's going to be the savior. Yeah, they always say that with that tag, here comes the savior. Yeah. And so Doug was getting his helmet ready to go into this game. And he said, man, they told his other quarterback, you go in. He said the guy went in and the guy was so nervous. He said the guy fumbled the snap. Before he could get in the game, he pulled away from the center and fumbled the snap. And they saw which way it was going. Then they brought Doug in the game.
Only in America.
Only in America. And this is your state capital in Washington, D.C.
Well, I know we got that black quarterback thing, but I know that's the most to highlight you want to talk about.
Yeah, we're just finishing up on the UIL and the Preview leagues. And one thing we got to remember here in the state of Texas, the PVIL leagues actually got started in 1969, 1970 when everybody came up under the umbrella. Right. But they had made the decision in 1967, the powers that be, to say, hey, we're going to go. We're going to go with the UIL. Maybe somebody cut them a deal, Preview guys a deal or what. I don't know. It's not listed. I haven't found that. But let's look at it like this. Had Lincoln High School in 1970,
Dallas Lincoln. You said.
Dallas Lincoln,
Mhm.
had they been 1 year later, the Prairie View Leagues had extended 1 more year later, that record never would have stood today.
Well, let me ask you this. I heard through the Prairie View League, and folks don't know, the Prairie View League was the governing body of black high schools like the UIL here in Dallas and other places around the country. But I heard the reason also that they had the Prairie View League, because when they have their competition, it wasn't no hotel for them to go stay, so they had
No
to stay on
accommodations.
campus.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
the staff, the coaches,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was no accommodation. And they traveled a lot.
Because I know the coach and them had to go where Coach Grant, Grant Prairie. They'd leave like 4 or 5 in the morning, drive in there, train you to get ready for your race.
Yeah.
They come back that night. Yeah.
But here's the funny part about it. They had to list teams that would play them. And if you got your school was out of Wichita Falls, you said, yeah, I play you. Yeah, you might have got a couple of games in Fort Worth. You might have got a couple of games in Dallas. That's 4.
That's 4.
That's 4. Okay, what about the other 6? So you had to go to El Paso. You had to travel to two other black schools that was maybe 3 and 4 hours away.
Beaumont,
Houston, Beaumont, maybe 4 and 5 hours away. I'm kind of exaggerating when I said 3. So this is what you had to do at that particular time to fill out your schedule. And guess what? And a lot of those games were played like on a Thursday night.
And the other thing, because they had to travel.
They had to travel.
But another thing is that they had not only iron sharpen iron.
Yeah.
So you had to go play a school in Beaumont that you ain't had no scouting team.
You didn't have no scouting team.
Nobody going to watch nobody play a day or 2 days before.
No, man.
Then. You ain't had no film session.
And you didn't have nobody in the press box.
Nobody.
But the people that was announcing the game.
Yeah.
You know, so all the coaches, you and your 3 assistant coaches was on the sideline getting those in charge of getting those players in and out the game, who you needed to play, and who didn't need to play. And then, after that, you had to go find a place to not only rest, but find a place to eat. Because you had to feed the kids. Because they was hungry. And then, we look at it and we say, okay, the UIL said, what we can do, you got more schools in your area. Okay, that's what they sold them at that time with the Prairie View League. You got more schools in your area. So you don't have to travel all this long distance. And that lost some luster because they lost some rivalry right there off the bat.
Well, hearing you saying that, Coach Williams, did they lose a step by not, let me just say this, I put it this way. When the Prairie View League, was it divisive this time wanted to break up and go UIL or some wanted to stay, or was it enemy domain? Because we always thought if I go to the right thing, it'll be better. If I go to white school, I'll be smarter. If I get me a white, I go to the white neighborhood, I have a better neighborhood.
I heard
so did they
both sides of the fence.
Both sides, okay.
Yeah. Some that was really adamant is saying, okay, it's just like we're selling our souls. Bam. And some said, no, this is better because you get to play schools that's closer. Plus, you can qualify now to play against the white school, and you can show what type of athletes that we really do have.
Right, we have.
How good our kids really are. And some was took that side of the fence, but a lot of times they fooled you with this thing like, well, okay, you can play Brian Adams. Okay, Lincoln can play Brian Adams now. I did. Brian Adams right up the street. This is right there in White Rock. Okay, now you can go and play so and so. But what happened to your rivalry in Fort Worth? What happened to your rivalry maybe in Houston? You see what I'm saying?
Well, yes,
you lost that. So you had to pick that up with somebody that was close by.
Well, one thing about the Prairie View, the PVIL, the Prairie View League compared to UIL, is that I watched the UIL game today. And I know that it's bigger and it's faster and stronger, but I watched it today, how the state championship is at December 17th, the third week of December. So when I'm going to PVL, the PVL, you can expand on this. They had 2 games. It could have been 3, but I know or more. They had 2 games in the state of Texas on Thanksgiving. It was Houston Jay played somebody, and Dallas
Lincoln was playing against Dallas Booker T
on Thanksgiving Day.
Because I remember going when I was a little boy, I might have been 7, 8 years old. You know why I went? Because my mother had went to Booker T, and some of the Booker T alums and Lincoln alums said, we got the Cotton Bowl, so let's turn it out. And you know how many people were there? You talking about the Grambling and Prairie View game? You had just as many people at that game, because I remember being a little boy walking at 7, 8 years old. I'm looking up, look at all these people. And then I look on the field, I saw the team, and then I'm looking like, man, how big they look, how rugged they look. I didn't know I was looking at a future star like Dwayne Thomas.
But I was looking around the country. In East St. Louis, East St. Louis played at Thanksgiving game. Two black schools. Over North Carolina, I looked. There was South Carolina, Florida, and somewhere else in Alabama, Mississippi. But I'm just saying the staple was, Washington D.C. I went to that game in D.C.
Okay.
But the staple is that on that day you play a morning game.
Yeah.
Then you go have Thanksgiving.
You go have Thanksgiving.
And then the NFL copy that.
That was a copycat, man. That was a copycat right off the bat. Tex Schramm, they give him credit for being the godfather of that. The Cowboys general manager, Texas Schramm, that was out of California. They gave him as saying that
they got the team in 1960, but they were doing it back in the 40s.
They were doing it back in the 40s, man. They were doing this all the way up until the 60s.
Yeah, the black high school been playing.
They were doing this all the way back up to 60. I say maybe 68 or 69.
Because I talked to somebody back then who knew about it, and they said the thing is that you get sharp, the guys get sharp on that morning.
Yeah.
You go to the high school game, then over there you go make your run, and then you stay out all day, you hang out, visit family and friends. Yeah. But it was a full field for days start with the high school game. Started
with the high school game. You started with Lincoln and Booker T. Then I think when Booker T became, non-existent, you went to Madison and Lincoln. But the theory of it was, the story that where I'm going with this is, think of that magnitude had on me as a little boy. Man, my mother said, we going to the football game.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't dawn on me if it was the Cowboy game or if it was Grambling and Prairie View, SMU in Texas or something like that. I'm going to a football game. Man, she put on her little dress and, my stepdad, put on whatever he put on, man. And, I had my little clothes on, my clean little tennis shoe. Bam, out the door we went. And they park your car, you parked, you got out. And, I said, Mama, you going to get a program, which I hate.
25, 50 cents.
Man.
Now that you can't get one if it is. It's $10, $12 for a program. Because the program was souvenir for us. You read that all night
and I did as a kid.
All you do is just read.
Yeah, as a kid, I guess I was a different kid at that time.
I'm saying that same kid.
Man, I would read that program and look at these same guys over and over again. Yeah.
I was that guy.
And don't you know, at one time, Bishop College, and people don't even remember this, I got it documented right here, but Bishop College played Prairie View on the fair night. Bishop played.
Wow.
Bishop in Prairie View was playing. Yes.
That Bishop College, you folks don't know around the country, it used to be in Marshall, Texas.
It used to be in Marshall, Texas, along with Wiley College. They had two colleges. Wiley and Bishop.
Oh, both of them were down there. Oh. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And Bishop moved to Dallas, I think like in the early 60s.
Yeah, they built the campus.
They built the campus out there off of Simpson Stewart, y'all. 3837 Simpson Stewart, because I went to Bishop. I still remember the address today. And this is where Paul Quinn is located now. My people, my family, that's right here in Dallas.
Which is from Waco.
And it was right up the street from where my uncle stayed in Waco, because we used to walk up the street and watch them practice.
So I think that's amazing.
It was amazing.
Another HBCU in a small market like Waco.
Yes. 2
HBCUs in Marshall, Texas.
Yes.
Well, you told me that's the first swag.
That's the first swag.
The Southwest Athletic Conference.
Yes.
But we think of the Grambling, Prairie View, Jackson State, and all that. But
Alcorn State, places like that. No, man, I used to go. My uncle to tell you how close we were to Paul Quinn. Mm-hmm. We were so close. All we had to do was walk down one street and make a left, and we was on their campus. And we used to watch them practice football. In the summertime, guys would be working out, stuff. And we was amazed how big they looked. Yeah. And then you go, later on that afternoon, you see some of the guys that play baseball, working out and stuff like that. You could hear the catchers make a fop, fop, because this guy was throwing maybe 90-some miles an hour, and he was throwing that, as they call it back then, that it was just hitting the catcher's mitt, and you could hear it go, and we just, woo, man, and then we go back home and get the tennis ball, and then my uncle, which, ended my baseball career, he said, how in the world that happen? I would get a bucket of tennis balls, and, and one of my little cousins would throw it to him, and he'd go get it, babe, and I go out there, man, I thought I was the next Willie Mays. Man, I was running.
That tennis ball go a long way.
Thank you, Spider. That's what ended my career. Because I started getting tired. And my legs weren't going fast.
Go a long way.
And then, he told me, gotta go get it, babe.
Go get it, yeah.
And I'm like, man, come on, dude.
Well, you gonna talk about something before we wrap up?
Oh, man, we almost through?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about, what we learned. And this is something that, this is something, a course that we probably could teach, younger athletes, because people need to know about this stuff, because this stuff is a dying breed. Nobody understands the linguistic, let's say what really is going on right now. The younger kids don't know. They just think this is the norm. This wasn't the norm. We grew up when it wasn't the norm.
Well, you said to teach that class is so ironic with this race theory. They don't want black history taught in schools.
That's why we lose
and other places like that.
Without a history, without you talking about, okay, well, we have a past. If you don't have history, you don't have a past.
And you know where you're going.
And you damn sure don't have a future. Your future is bleak.
Yeah. So here the guy in Florida, the man up trying to stop critical thinking from way back.
Governor Santos. Yeah,
Santos. So there's another place around the country down at the guy down in Austin need to roll his ass up out of there. Yeah, I said it.
Yep.
To get him out of there because they need to get him out of there because it is, but it's so. But here's the thing: they want to pick and choose what we would think is for our culture. Well, they can watch the colors, and we can teach them about. Let's teach them about. I'm just gonna say put something out there. Let's teach them the colors about Abraham Lincoln freed the slave.
Yeah. Which we know he did.
It's a lot of.
It was a proposal that Frederick Douglass gave to Lincoln for Lincoln to look at and say, "Hey, you free them; they'll fight for you, which would give you more production. They give the masses, we give you got more manpower. That's what I'm looking for. The manpower will be there for you to defeat the South."
And that's one of my things that my pet peeve about. First of all, I didn't do nothing about it. What I'm going to mention, I don't have an excuse. If I could find a way to make this station work in my house, I could have been a trench. This is my pet peeve. 3 or 4 years ago, everybody was talking about take down a Robbie Lee statue, all the racist statues all around the country. Y'all tear them down like flies. But anything that's too big, I put something back up. And you never did put anything, never did talk about you want it down.
Yeah.
So what's the reason to down? It's down in somebody's warehouse, but you're not uneducated. So my thing is this: if you take a Robert Lee statue out of a park in North Dallas, request to put a Maya Angelou up there so we won't go away.
Yeah.
Request to put a Sojourner Truth.
Yeah.
So when
Miss Open Lee.
Open Lee. So when that white kid with his mom and dad at the park, and they said, "But who is this lady right here? Who is Miss Open Lee? This statue at this park named after her?" They can give a history to them kids. Yeah. That means that our history stops when you don't put nothing to replace it.
Okay, you got the.
That running me hot.
Okay, I'm gonna run you hot again. Kennedy was assassinated here November 22nd, 1960.
I was in 3rd grade.
I was in the 1st grade. Mm-hmm. Okay, we only 15 months. You only 15 months older than me,
right?
So here's the funny part about that. Don't you know 3 slaves was lynched in that same location where Kennedy was killed? They said they started the first fire that tore down the courthouse. That red courthouse that we see today.
What?
That courthouse.
Yeah, I think I heard they had a lynching party, right?
They had a lynching party. They went out and found 3. Come to find out they was innocent because what it was at that time, one of the builders falsely did something to the building, and the building went up in flames, and they just assumed that the slaves had something to do with it in 1869 here in the city of Dallas.
Well, So Santos and Abbott, did y'all know that? That's history.
That's history, man. See, that's something that you don't know anything about. But you know about Kennedy, November 22nd. Okay, and then people get mad at me when they are, the liberals from California. They said, well, Dallas was the one that killed the president. I said, well, y'all killed his brother in 1968.
Yes, sure
you killed Robert Kennedy, who was a presidential
Hope
at that time.
At the Ambassador Hotel.
At the Ambassador Hotel, 2 months prior,
Dr.
King was assassinated in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So let's get this. Let's stop playing games and playing, what they call it, political theorists.
Or
let's be realistic about this thing.
one movie, somebody said, let's not play holy.
Yeah.
Who was that one? Yeah. So that's where we were.
That's where we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And to me, and like I said, you need this stuff. This stuff right here is good stuff. This is stuff that nobody ever would have even thought about, And we play. I want to play. Pay a lot of homage to Roger B. Who
we talked about Roger B. Brown. He was a video host.
Historian
in Dallas. He was a columnist for the Star Telegram.
Yes.
Also,
that was your boy.
Yeah, how I got my start in the media, Roger B. Brown. How you doing, Alicia Brown, his sister? So he can be right here talking with us because, matter of fact, his classmate, speaking of black coaches, is
Leslie Frazier. Yeah.
Buffalo Bills.
Bills. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he talked about Leslie all the time. So these are things that we, would be gone. We have to pick up just like a relay. You got to continue to, you got to run. You got to pass the baton. And you got to continue to do this. And if it's not done, who's going to do it?
Well, that's one thing I like about Coach's Corner is that you bring flavor to not only to your podcast, to the network, for those who be watching. You bring flavor that you don't want nothing out of. You want to just take information. When you gone, it still be there.
Yeah. And like I said, I don't leave. I'm loyal. You know that.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to come up here and say, okay, I can give you this, I can give you that to leave. For what? I don't want that. Because I'm selling myself into something that I can end up being forgotten.
But one thing that you and I are doing, you way better than I am, because we got to do this. Now, one time, did you you go to chapter 3 or page 16 or chapter 9? You read it and you process it.
Yes. It's processed because, like I said, again, this is stuff that we'll never, ever see or witness again.
Mm-hmm.
Who knew about Charlie Taylor?
Who knew about Choo-Choo? What's your name?
Charles Bracken.
Charles Bracken from Dallas.
That's right.
Lincoln, Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. You knew about maybe, now, Mr. Abner Haynes, who went to Lincoln, and a lot of people don't even know him.
Abner Haynes.
They played for several teams. Went to North Texas with Mr. Emmett Haynes, a principal, right here in DISD. Mr. Haynes. Nobody ever knew anything about that. Here these guys were pioneers in integrating North Texas State University,
which was one of the racist colleges. Wow.
Yeah.
Speaking of race.
Yeah. We talked about, gave shout outs to Jerry Levias, SMU. We forgot about Roosevelt Leaks. Was the first black player where he wasn't the first. Julius, I think Julius Whiter was the first black player, but Roosevelt Leaks was the second black player to play at the University of Texas.
Program.
That's right. He played the Baltimore Colts.
One of the things that I get before we sign off, is that my family and people I'm raised they big Dallas Cowboy fans. So they asked me sometime, and I remember like 1960, 1961, at black and white TV, and they asked me, why you no Cowboy fan? Why you no Cowboy fan? I said, when I was young, 61, 60, first grade, whatever it be, second grade, I always liked the team with a dark uniform. And the Cowboy had their little uniform, and then after I started watching them, I just saw that it was racism, in my opinion. I probably didn't know, whatever. I just never liked them. And then I started seeing things they talk about.
Yeah.
But I go back to one of the most racist teams, there's a lot of racist teams, is that I could not get past the wishbone with James Street and the 3 white boys back there, and the whole team was white.
Yep.
I couldn't stand Texas. I still like Texas today.
And then on the opposite side, when they played against Notre Dame that year, You had
Gabe
Tom, Gabe Wood.
44.
You had Clarence Ellis, number 23 in the program,
Mhm.
was a defensive back.
Mhm.
And you had several other black players.
Black players, yeah.
You know, but on the flip side of that, the quarterback was Terry Henry.
Terry Henry on that team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was my thing, and I still don't today, but I looked at those teams and I didn't know till you tell me this, that Bird Brown never had black players.
Never did till he got Wilbur Jackson.
Wilbur Jackson.
The running back out of Alabama.
Alabama.
Here's the funny part about that. He got 3 that year because when John Robinson, when they came to play, they took them down a back road of Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the white players was taken back. They didn't know things like that existed. You could look through somebody's house, look through their front door, and look all the way through the back. They never seen a shotgun house. They never seen anything like that.
And that's another thing is that, wow.
Yeah, they said when they got to the stadium, they could have easily lost the game, but they had Sam Bam Cunningham, who was originally born in Alabama before he moved to California. Yeah,
and for Louisiana people, everybody had a migration. Alabama folk with Detroit, Mississippi folk Chicago, Louisiana folk with California.
Yep. And Texas folks.
Yeah, and Texas folks. It was California.
Because Archie Bell Ladrell, his brother was Ricky Bell,
the running back for the USC.
Yeah, that was his brother.
That was his brother.
Yeah, mm-hmm. Ricky Bell, because Archie went to Vietnam.
Yeah.
You know, after he had made that record called Tighten Up.
Tighten Up.
Yeah.
Which was and people don't realize, Archie Bell and Drill was a mixed band.
It was a mixed band.
Before Slide and Family Stone.
Exactly.
It was a mixed band. White and black.
See, and people didn't know that. See, Ricky finished
Santos and Abbott.
Y'all need to wake up. They don't want this. They don't want this play. Because see, when Ricky Bell was drafted number 1, the Cowboys almost drafted him, but Tampa Bay drafted him.
Yeah, they got it.
And then 3 or 4 years, the brother passed away.
Yeah,
from leukemia.
Yeah, that was the expansion program for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a blast, Coach.
Hey, man, it's always is, man. Like I said, man, I hate that we got to slow it down. We got to stop the car.
But we had it out here.
We got it out here. See, next week it's going to be even better.
Yeah, because we have our producer back, and we have all our graphics to show y'all along the way.
That's right. And it's going to be even better next week.
Oh, yeah.
Every week we're going to get better and better and better and better.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And say, hey, y'all need to tune in. Y'all need to hear this stuff. This is good stuff. You
won't hear nobody. What time you be on next week, though?
Next time, hey, we're going to be on at 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah, we'll be on at 10 o'clock. So y'all come on and listen to us. You know,
all right.
We're going to be right here.
There you have it. Coach,
God bless you. Have a good week.
A week.
Thank you.